Coming up, a special show you don't want to miss. Now hit my theme music. It's time to tap because the Angle Podcast starts right now. What's up, Angle fans? Welcome back. Today I have a special guest here with me, right there. He is a wrestler of the people, and he's one of the most talked about independent stars today. Ladies and gentlemen, Christian Kobain. How you doing, my man?
Rounding applause. Wait, no? Cricket? All right, I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. I am well, my friend. How are you? Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. Thank you for taking the time out to do this. It means a lot. How are you holding up in this whole quarantine, these crazy times? How's everything going?
I mean, I'm here. I'm as good as I can be. I'm not one to complain about things. How about yourself? Holding up?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just, trying to make the most of it. Yeah. So what kind of changed in your daily life? I know a lot of superstars, their days require training and things like that. How has your day-to-day life really changed as a performer with everything that's going on?
Well, first and foremost, Twitter has pretty much become my job now. Whereas I would get my exposure before in a wrestling ring in front of a set amount of people, now it's completely on Twitter entirely. I'm still training. I'm still working out, probably honestly working out harder than I've ever worked out in my life. Home workouts are no joke if you know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, I've started some here.
What are you doing?
I'm just doing basic, stuff to stay in shape, cardio, and doing whatever I can in the house. Actually, I'm finding a lot of stuff on TikTok. I don't know if you're on TikTok, but I'm finding a lot of home remedies.
I've checked it out. There actually is some pretty good stuff on there. I will recommend, though, for you and anybody else listening, Daily Burn is absolutely awesome, and it offers a free month trial. I use that, and it's wonderful.
Awesome. Now, for those who don't really know who you are, they're wrestling fans, they don't know who Christian Kobain is, kind of give us a synopsis of who you are and how you got here today, and really just, your journey.
You know what, man? I'm just an average dude who's doing not average shit because of cool dudes like you and like all the fans on Twitter who are helping out and helping promote me and give me the opportunity to have a platform to begin with. As far as who I am, I'm the wrestler of the people for that exact reason. Like I'm more than just a wrestler. I'm a movement, brother.
I feel you on that one. And I was looking up your stuff before this interview, and man, like you got so many cool things in your moveset, all different sorts of styles. How do you really define your style and really kind of describe what your finisher is?
I mean, it's really hard to explain what anyone's specific style is if you don't fall under one specific category. The best way to describe me is I fight ugly. I throw my body at people and I enjoy causing violence in not aesthetically pleasing ways. Because, see, the first few years of my career, I kind of tried to be like every other indie wrestler out there, slapping the leg, doing the flips, doing the rolls, doing all the athletic stuff that really I couldn't do. Now, compared to your average guy off the street, I'm a high level athlete. Compared to your high level athletes in professional wrestling, I'm a Joe Schmo. So thanks to other wrestlers like above me, like guys that I would look up to, for example, a guy named Ron Mathis would always tell me, because he said that I relate to him a lot in the sense that he's the same way. You just need to do what fits you, and what fits me is hitting dudes as hard as I possibly can in gross, ugly ways.
Of course. And, with everything that's going on, I see your name all over Twitter. There's so much buzz around your name right now. And you were talking about Twitter earlier. How has this quarantine and how has this pandemic really changed your career and your outlook on the business, really?
It's changed it entirely. You see, I took it upon myself 2.5 months ago, when this all actually started. I realized that this is going to really slow things down for not just indie wrestlers, but professional wrestling as a whole, if we let it. I seen how strong the wrestling community was on Twitter, and I jumped on that. And ever since, I've been growing and growing and growing. And then I was fortunate enough, due to, again, thanks to the fans sharing me out and giving me a platform. WWE superstar Dolph Ziggler posted about helping out independent wrestlers, and a lot of people were commenting me onto his page.
Wow.
And out of the kindness of his own heart, he went and purchased some T-shirts of mine on Pro Wrestling Tees, which was awesome in itself. But what really helped me more than anything was just the rub that gave me, the spotlight that put on me. Otherwise, I was a relative unknown. Like I put a little work in myself before that happened, but because of that, things have just been exploding, and then I'm just doing everything that I can to take advantage of the platforms that I'm given.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know that about Ziggler. That's pretty amazing that he did that, especially in his position. Now,
Yeah,
social media is really it's become a big. Actually, it's probably one of the biggest parts of the business today. I mean,
I think
the
it is
best
the biggest part of the business
that
today.
even before the pandemic, it was really getting up there, and it's a
Yeah.
way for superstars to get over and to promote their merchandise, promote them just in a whole. How do you think? Well, how will you take advantage of that when everything does go back to normal? If it does go back to normal, I don't know what normal is anymore, but how do you plan on taking advantage of what's happening on Twitter when this pandemic kind of slows down?
You know what? I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm busting my ass right now, and I'm putting in every bit of effort that I can to not only share things about myself with the people, but engage with people. See, that's where I think I differ a little bit from not every other indie wrestler, but a lot of other indie wrestlers, because, and not just indie wrestlers, just wrestling in general. They seem to use social media more as a platform to, I don't want to say boost their ego, but boost their ego. And I'm not doing that. I'm trying to let people learn about me, but at the same time, I'm trying to learn about them.
Sure.
I'm trying to meet cool people. I'm trying, because wrestling fans are awesome, man. Some
Yeah.
of my best friends are named Mark. I love the wrestling community, and I can tell that they sense that love is real, and that's why they're getting behind me now. And it just means so much to me.
And that does really mean something, especially within the wrestling community. Because before I started doing the podcast, before I got involved in the wrestling community, I never really was on Twitter with wrestling. And once I got involved with that, I saw how many people, like, there's a lot of support. Although there's a lot of negativity out there, but there's a lot of support, especially for independent wrestling. I mean,
Massive.
it's just I've never seen anything like it. You can say other sports people are like that on social media, promoting their favorite guys and retweeting, but
Yeah, not the
it's a
same.
different
And,
thing when you can really get behind someone like you, who's just, this is who you are, this is what you do, and it's you.
yeah,
It's
I mean, I
relatable.
was the same way as you until the pandemic. I really didn't use my Twitter much. I've had one for a few years, but I've barely used it. I've mostly promoted myself through Instagram and Facebook.
That was
Then,
the real
because of
thing
this
before.
pandemic, I've had a lot more time on my hands, and I've really got to research and discover that the wrestling community lives and dies on Twitter. That's where wrestling is right now. Wrestling isn't just social media. Wrestling is Twitter.
Yeah,
And that wrestling, again, I know I keep saying it, but that wrestling community is just so strong right now. It's unbelievable, honestly.
it is. And I think it's back in the day, and not even back in not even too long ago, to be able to speak to a wrestler was like, oh, like it was near impossible unless you're at a live
Yeah.
event, you meet and greet. Now
You
today,
randomly see them going into a hotel whenever they're cranky and don't really want to talk anyway.
exactly. Now today, you can have a one-on-one conversation
Yeah.
and build your character up doing that. Like the other day, I
Yeah.
got followed by John Cena on Twitter. I was like, oh my god,
Oh,
how
bro,
do you?
I'm so jealous. I have followed and unfollowed John Cena so many times, so he gets that notification and
I had
follows me
no
back,
idea,
but he just
man.
won't do it.
I posted about it, and people were telling me you have to like his post as soon as he posts something, and he'll automatically follow you. I don't know, man, but
I'm
just
pretty jealous, bro.
stuff like
Not
that,
gonna
like
lie.
you didn't expect a little while ago. Today, Twitter, I mean, you can talk to the best of the best. It's crazy.
I mean, hell, like, just for example, what I was saying before, like I'm trying to engage with people. Like, I reply to as many comments as I can. Like, if people DM me, I'm gonna reply to your DM as long as you're not weird. If
Of
you say
course.
some weird stuff, I'm not gonna reply to you. But like, I'm trying to meet people, engage with people, learn about the wrestling community.
Yeah,
because
it's
I'm just like everybody else. I'm one of you.
of course. And I see the drawings behind you. I've been researching you. You have kids, you have a family. How is everybody holding up? And in this time, how is that going? I know it
I
gets
mean, they're great. They're in the other room right now being babysat by their pawpaw. I'm actually wondering if my noise canceling headphones are blocking out their screaming. Can you hear it? I'm not sure.
no, I can't hear it.
Oh, sweet that they're being good. Awesome. But yeah, man, I've got a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old,
Oh.
Bradley and Blake, and they're my world, man.
What do they? How do they feel about wrestling? How do you? How do they? What do they think of you being a wrestler? Like how does that?
Well,
How's that
they're
conversation?
two completely different children. For one, my oldest son, he doesn't really care. But my youngest son, Bradley, is all about it. Like he is a little fighter. Like, he's gonna grow up to either be an MMA fighter or a professional wrestler. I guarantee it. Even though I don't want him to, he's gonna do it. He's a badass, honestly.
That's cool. That's cool to have someone young like that to kind of really kind of help your ego a little bit.
Well, yeah, I practiced my moves on him too.
Yeah. A big question that I keep, actually, a lot of people ask me regarding this is how you broke into the business and who was your trainer, and how did that journey really begin?
Yeah. Are you familiar with Jamie Noble?
Yes, Jamie Noble.
Yeah. So I'm from West Virginia, not Western Virginia, West Virginia. Everybody does that, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna let the world know right now. We don't like it. We don't appreciate it. We are a state, and we count. Damn it. But yeah, there's a local legend called Adorable Danny Ray. I got brought in. I got broke into the business alongside one of my best friends in the world, a guy who's been there with me since the very beginning, a gentleman named Shane Kryzak. Everybody, please go check this guy out. He is a legit badass, and he's gonna blow up one day, I promise. But we would head to a little town called Chapmanville, about an hour away from where we lived, and we would train every once a week for a year. We trained in a little room on concrete with a pad. We didn't get in a ring for almost a year,
Wow.
and so yeah, we pretty much just learned the basics there. I learned how to bump. I learned how to chain wrestle, and we listened to Adorable Danny Ray talk and teach us about psychology, the most important thing about professional wrestling. And it's funny too because whenever he originally taught us all this stuff, there were moments where I would be like, are we really learning enough right now? Is this really progressing as quickly as it needs to be? Because we weren't in a ring. We weren't getting that physical side of wrestling. But now that I'm about 6 years in now, that mental side of all those stories that he spent so much time telling us, they're starting to click and they're starting to really make sense. So, Danny Ray, if you're watching, which you're probably not, because I don't think you know much about podcasting, I love you so much.
That's
But
awesome.
that's the beginning of my training. I then a couple years later hooked up with the OI 4K Academy with Dave Christ of OVE, and I trained under him for a year. I actually lived in his house in the Wrestle House.
Wow.
I learned so much from Dave. Like I could talk all day about the many things that Dave Christ has taught, many things that Dave Christ has taught me. But I'll limit it to one thing for the sake of this interview. The most valuable lesson that Dave Christ ever gave me, and for any other wrestler out there, if you're struggling right now with like finding who you are as a person, quit being a pussy. It's as simple as that. Dave would tell me time and time again. I would walk up to him after my matches and be like, "Hey, pops, how was my match?" And he'd just look at me. It's all right. Quit being a pussy though. And for like 7, 8 months, I was just like, "What is he talking about? Like, I don't understand." And then eventually, I realized like you just gotta stop caring what people think about you. And as soon as you stop caring what people think about you, that energy is going to translate. Because in my opinion, all wrestling is me giving energy to a crowd, and then that crowd giving energy right back to me. So those first 6, 7, 8 months when I didn't understand what "don't be a pussy" means, I would walk out there and they could just feel that awkward energy from me. Even though I didn't feel it myself, they felt it, and it
Smart man.
showed. And
No.
they weren't giving me back what I wanted from them. And then one day I just stopped caring. Like I just didn't care anymore. And ever since that day, you walk out with a thing called BDE. I won't go into detail with that. If you want to look it up and figure that out, you can. But if you walk out from that curtain with that BDE, feeling yourself, that crowd's going to feel you too. You
Yeah.
give them that energy, they're going to give it right back.
That's awesome, man. Now, I'm a huge supporter of independent wrestling. I live in New York, New Jersey area. I'm always traveling around. I'm always trying to get interviews with guys such as yourself. Um, Today, really, I think more than ever, independent wrestling is really the biggest topic in wrestling. It's not WWE, it's not AEW, it's not Impact or Ring of Honor. It's like the independent scene. Like people really want to get invested where these guys are starting from. They want to be from the beginning.
100%.
They want to get on the whole journey. They want to be a part of the ups and downs, and they want to be involved with everything. How does that really change? What's your perception on independent wrestling today?
My entire platform of who I am today is based around independent professional wrestling. Every independent wrestling right now is the lifeblood of wrestling.
It
It
is.
lives and dies. And you said a lot of people are paying attention to indie wrestling right now because they want to get guys on the beginning. But that's the thing, though. Indie wrestling isn't just guys on the beginning now. There's a lot of incredibly talented wrestlers out there who just aren't signing with major companies because not only can they make a good living off of independent wrestling, they get creative freedom. They get to be who they want to be. And honestly, that right there is one of the most important things to a wrestler. If you get to do what you want to do, again, it's back to the energy thing. If
Yeah.
I'm playing a character, I'm not going to be given the correct energy to you. If I'm just me, you're going to feel that. And you can't not feel realness. That's just all there is to it. And that's just one of the many beautiful things about independent professional wrestling.
And we're seeing that a lot today. I mean, you look at superstars. I think the biggest one you can really talk about today, Dean Ambrose in WWE, John Moxley in AEW, who really came out and said, "Listen, like they won't let me be me. I don't
Yeah.
write scripts. I don't read this. I don't do that." It's a really big topic today.
And you could
KK's
feel
dead.
that even through a TV screen watching him, you could feel that.
Yeah, it's crazy how that really is just everything has changed. It's incredible.
You just got to let the wrestlers be themselves, man.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I do have a few fan questions. I saw that we were tweeting on Twitter before, asking fans, for questions. I do have a few here. I really thought we got a lot actually. It was just they were pouring in. Let me see. This
Wait.
one is from at A16 Adam Walker, and he asks if you could book a dream indie battle royal, either MLW, Ring of Honor, Impact, AEW, NWA, whoever, to celebrate the return of wrestling. Who are a few names you would put in that battle royal?
Oh, man. That's a good question. So many guys. You would absolutely have to pick some guys from each company, of course. It would be amazing to come back to just like one big super indie show involving like maybe some impact talent such as OVE, of course. Like everything about OVE is amazing. It's one of the coolest things I've seen in not just indie wrestling, but it's not really indie wrestling, but you know what
Yeah,
I mean. It's one of the coolest things I've seen in wrestling in a long, long time. Dave and Jake Christ, Madman Fulton, Sammy Callahan, they're all killing it. Ace Austin, one of my best friends in this world. Shout out to Ace Austin. I love you. Um,
that's funny.
there's
I was talking to him about coming on the show too. That's pretty funny.
Willie Mack. Willie Mack is fantastic. Rich Swan. I could go on and on. The Impact roster is unbelievable right now. The Briscoe brothers from ROH. Absolutely throw them in there. Maybe some guys we don't think about very often. Maybe some guys who aren't getting the recognition that I personally feel like they deserve right now, like a Clayton Gaines out of Dayton, Ohio. He's phenomenal. If you've never heard of him, look him up. Crash Jackson, former teammate of mine. I lived with him in the Wrestle House with Dave Chris. Phenomenal talent. Back to Shane Kryzak, absolutely. Chance Profit, like another guy who's completely been underutilized and not given the recognition that he deserves. Chance Profit is phenomenal. Throw him in there. Zicky Dice, that dude's killing it right now.
He's a
Honestly, this could go on and on, bro. This battle royal is
of
going to
course.
turn into like a 200-man battle royal.
Yeah.
There's just so much talent right now.
Yeah. That honestly, all the names you threw in there, man, like that'd be the moneymaker right there, and including yourself.
I appreciate that.
This next question is from at Bat Richard. He said, "I really like when you switch from the more traditional wrestling singlet to your current gear. What inspired your current look?"
I mean, It's pretty easy. My current look is just I don't really wear wrestling gear. Like I wrestle in what I would fight in real life, except for the kick pads. Those are there for aesthetic look. But other than that, bro, I'm wearing jeans. I'm wearing a t-shirt. I'm wearing some knee pads, and I'm wearing some wrestling shoes. I go out there in exactly what I would go into a fight with. And again, this is back to wrestlers being themselves. I
Exactly.
wrestled the first 5 years of my career in a singlet and felt so uncomfortable every time that I went out there because everybody always said, "Oh, you can't wrestle in a shirt. Oh, you have to wear spandex. Oh, you have to wear tights. You have to do this. You have to do that." Fuck that. Like I'm me, and if somebody doesn't like that, then screw them. I don't need them.
Yeah, and a lot of guys today, I mean, there's less of that you know, uh, iconic ring gear. I would say, like the tights or the singlet,
You gotta
or
have trunks and boots, kid.
yeah, it's all kind of going away, and that's it's just
Beautiful. I
again
love it.
the evolution of the business just continuing,
Yep.
continuing. This next question came from at JBabe. She wrote, or what is it you love about the sport? Is there a specific match that spoke to you, that inspired you growing up to become a professional wrestler?
This is just like the battle royal question. This could go on forever,
Yeah,
but I will limit it to one match that really struck a chord in me that completely changed me. And it's not one that anybody really thinks about when they list off the greatest like matches of all time. It's not like a super technical match or anything like that. I was already a massive wrestling fan at the time, but this one did it for me. Big Evil, the Undertaker gimmick versus Jeff Hardy on Monday Night Raw in a ladder match for
that
the I
match.
think it was the undisputed title. I might be wrong on that, but
I
the
believe it was.
big belt.
Yeah,
So just everything about that match. We're back to the wrestlers being real. Jeff Hardy was so real. He connected to everybody in that audience because he was just like every one of them. And he's in there with the most dominant just force in the WWE and the aftermath. Spoiler alert, guys! If you haven't seen this yet, sorry, it's like 15 years old. But the aftermath, Jeff Hardy almost wins the match. We actually think he's gonna do it. One of the best false finishes I've ever seen. I believed it as a kid, but the
yeah,
Undertaker gets the win. Of course he does. He leaves. Huge bad guy at the time. He leaves on his bike. Jeff Hardy gets up, gets on the mic, and says, "You haven't killed me yet, Taker." Taker comes back. You think he's going to murder Jeff, pauses, looks at him, grabs his hand, raises it in the air. That was the moment that not only Jeff Hardy was made for the rest of his career, but that was the moment that I decided, all right, I have to do this.
yeah. I remember watching Jeff as a kid, and that match in particular, it just like you said, it made him, and
It did.
his
It gives
style,
me
his
chills,
look,
bro. Just like
everything
talking
is
about it, I
just
got goosebumps.
that guy is just he is who he is. He puts his all
He's
into it.
real.
He's real. He risked it all for every match. It's just it's
And
unbelievable.
without even having to like be able to talk to the people and cut promos and stuff like that,
Yeah.
can you name another wrestler that connected with an audience that much?
He was
I
just
can't.
that guy that is relatable. I don't know.
It was him.
Yep.
That was Jeff Hardy.
Yep. This next question comes from Eve Gutierrez, 355. She says, where does Christian Kobain see himself in a year from now? Hashtag wrestler of the people.
Yeah, that one, man. That's really difficult to answer because again, if I was to go back in time and tell myself 2 months ago that I'd be doing the things that I'm doing right now, I would tell myself that I'm crazy. So it's so hard to answer. I have no idea. It's day by day right now. Things are changing for me. Every day I wake up and check Twitter, I'm getting something new that I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Like the other day, I got the opportunity, the biggest opportunity in my career to be on the Bully Ray. Sorry, not podcast. I almost said it. I got in trouble for this
I
on
heard
it.
that. I heard
Yeah,
that.
the Busted Open Radio show with Bully Ray, and it was it's just baffling. Like it's not supposed to be me, man. Like what happened? I just woke up one day and now all of a sudden I'm getting opportunities that weren't supposed to be given to me.
Dude,
It's
people were
crazy.
people were put. I saw that, man. People were just dumping your name in there, like Christian Kobain, man. You gotta get this guy. You gotta get this guy. It's
You know
crazy.
what? Like I don't know where I see myself in a year. I can't possibly give a prediction for that, but I
Yeah,
can tell you and everybody else that I'm gonna bust my ass to make sure that I am one of the biggest professional wrestlers in the scene. And not just for me, for each and every fan out there. Because again, I'm not just a wrestler, I'm a movement. I'm a movement for independent professional wrestling, and I'm a movement for the wrestling community.
Wow, man, it's powerful stuff. And it's one thing when you hear it and it's just like, oh, it's a promo, but coming from someone like you, it's real, it's
It
it's
is.
personal, and it's like that's your life, man. That's this is what it
It's
is.
everything to me, man.
Awesome, awesome. Now, this next, I have one more question for you. Actually, one and a half. It's kind of like a two-parter. From
Fair
at
enough.
Sam Astley, she wrote, "Do you think people overlook West Virginia as a spot for having some
Oh,
good local wrestling?"
absolutely. Yeah, 100%, a million percent. West Virginia has been hit with such a massive stigma of bad wrestling for so long. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the stigma is unfair. It's not. Because even since I've been in the business, when I first got in, there was a lot of really bad wrestling. Fast forward 6 years, there are a lot of talented professional wrestlers coming out of our state. And that's another movement that I really want to stand for is along with other guys like Jason Kincaid, Chance Prophet, Shane Kryzak, Casey King. He's not from West Virginia, but he's a West Virginia guy. Dustin Alexander, Jack Manick. I'm going to forget people, guys. I apologize. I wasn't prepared for this. I love you all. But there's just so many guys. And I want to be, honestly, I want to be the leader of that movement to help the reputation of my state. I
Gotcha.
tell everybody all the time, take my hand, I'll lead the way. I mean that.
Awesome. Now, this last question is from at TJ. I think it's Roch or Roche. I'm not really sure. He asked, "What's the most painful moment you've had in the ring thus far?"
Painful moment. Oh, that was actually pretty easy. All right, so cage match. Shane Kryzak. He had me. He had me up in the. I was climbing the cage. He hooks under me for the electric chair drop from the top rope.
Yeah,
See, I didn't think about it at the time, but when we collide, his head is in a very sensitive area.
gotcha.
So safe to say, I'm glad I've already got two kids because after that, I don't think I need to worry about it
Wow, man. Wow. Yeah, no, I don't want to think about that.
anymore.
So I was looking at your tees on pro wrestling tees. Those designs, man, are those your designs? You have somebody make those for you? Those are incredible. Each and every one,
I've
they're
got
all different. They're all
Thank you so much. I've got a couple different graphic designers who I go through. Michelle Massey, shout out to her. She is phenomenal. There's a few different ones, and I don't want to forget anybody, but they're all amazing and they all do incredible work. I like to, I want to have as many designs as possible. That's my goal, and I
yeah,
finally got to the point of where on Pro Wrestling Tees I can upload more than 4 designs. So if people stay tuned, I've got loads more prepared.
awesome, man. Because some of those designs I was looking at, and that after this, I'm going to buy one.
Oh,
I told one of my friends, I was like, you got to go check this guy out, man. Like, not only is the wrestling awesome, not only is just like the whole package, the movement, everything, the the tees, man. Like that to me as a wrestling fan, when you go to these shows, that's a chance for to really say, you got to check this guy out. And that's what I tend to do with a lot of the guests that I have. And like I said, I'm going to go on and get one of your shirts after because they're really, really.
hey, well, do me a favor and send me a photo in it. Not a nude though. I'm not into
Gotcha, man.
that.
So across all social media, you're at Real Cobain. Is that all your social
Yes,
media handle?
sir. At Real
Awesome.
Cobain. Facebook, Christian Kobain. But I don't do much on Facebook. So if you really want to follow me, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, that's where it's at.
Awesome, man. And any last words you have for the fans? Just anything you want to say.
Again, I just want to reiterate the same thing I've gone over time and time again is thank you guys so much. From the bottom of my heart, from me, from my family, from my children, thank you all so much. Because again, I'm not supposed to be here right now. I'm not. I'm just an average dude doing cool shit because of cool people. Thank you guys so much. And I promise you that I will do everything in my power not to let you down. And I will be one of the biggest stars in the professional wrestling world thanks to you.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you taking the time out to do this. I know you
Thank
got a
you.
lot of them going on today. like I said, you're blowing up. Everyone's trying to get a piece of Cobain.
Hey, you're my last one for the day. Actually, I get to
Oh,
rest
there you
now.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Like you said, you can check him out at Real Cobain across the board, Instagram, Twitter, and I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on. And
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Please stay safe and
you too,
healthy,
man, you
man.
and your family. And I like to end on a positive note. And every guest that I have, I really like to tell them that, you know, once you come on the show, once you're a part of it, you're a part of the Angle family. So, you know, so don't be a stranger. Whenever you want to talk again, do an interview, whatever, Instagram live, I don't care, whatever it is, whatever you want to do to get, you know, say something, say anything, we're available for you, man.
Hey, I'm gonna take you up on that offer, my man.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Stay safe. Hope your family stays safe, and enjoy the rest of this time we have.
Thanks, man. You too.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.